All right, so let's look at how to actually attach the Joying AR rear camera to our custom mounted bracket. So when you purchase the AR camera, there will be a bracket, a universal bracket mounted to it. So the first part of that bracket screws into these two holes here, which unfortunately that piece I seem to have lost. I looked all over, it is very small, and unfortunately I seem to have lost it, but I will try and find it and see if I can update this video if so. But anyways, or I'll add a picture if I do, overlaid on top here. Anyways, that bracket screws into the back of the camera here with two screws. The other piece of that bracket is this with the butterfly wings. So you want to remove this first, and then you can remove, again, that bracket that goes into the back. The bracket that goes into the back of the camera is held in with very tiny screws. So there should be two of them. They're black and they're pretty short, and again, they're very, very small. Go ahead and remove those. Once that is removed, go ahead and get your camera bracket that you received. So this is a print that I just did. It's not been, I didn't clean up any possible stringies. The gaskets might have, I will clean them up, but there may be a couple of little stringies. That's just the nature of TPU. It's totally normal. It's not going to affect the print or anything or the functionality, but you will receive 3 pieces. I will pre-attach this gasket here that goes between the part and the trunk. However, it may come loose during shipping. If it does, grab your piece. Okay, you'll notice there is a channel inset around the face there, the side that has the Horsley Technology logo and the version and the material. So you'll see that channel. Grab your gasket. You'll notice it's the same shape as that channel. Then you need to identify which way is up. So the way that you'll do that is, if you look at the gasket, you'll see here on the left side of the gasket, there is a little bit of a notch. Same on the right side. It's a little harder to see. There's a little bit of a notch on the top side. That is to allow for these clips here to have clearance during the mounting procedure to actually clip onto the metal. So that is the side that goes up, and then you just kind of press it in. I know it is a very tight fit, and it won't even really stay in. It's not form fit. It's just supposed to kind of sit in that channel, and you can just kind of work it in with your fingers, and it's probably not going to perfectly stay in. That's fine. Like you can see here, it wants to pop out. It's not, glued in or anything, but as long as it's lined up with that channel, when you actually pop it into place, you'll be good. It will create that watertight seal. But again, just kind of work it in with your fingers. You can see like the end down here is in, but then down here, like it's wanting to come up. Totally normal. Again, just the nature of it. It's not glued down or anything like that, but just make sure that it's, lined up in that channel. And then when you pop it into place, verify that it actually is still lined up in that channel when it's actually mounted. So that's the first part. The second part is the gasket that goes between the face where the camera mounts and the actual camera. So this also is a directional gasket. So if we look here, you can see on the left side, there's like a little bit of a protrusion on the gasket. And then you can see on this side, it is totally flat. And then we've got that protrusion. The thick part here goes towards the bottom, and then you will just line that protrusion up with the inset of the part. So you can see now, like mine is actually in there. Again, doesn't lock in or anything like that. It just sits in there until you actually mount it. So that is how that goes. I'm going to remove it temporarily. Next, what you want to do is grab your camera. First, you want to grab your wires. Now, the flat part without the protrusion, that is what will actually touch the camera. So you want to run your wires, okay, through that front part of the gasket. You want to get it all the way down and onto the camera, okay? And then you'll see that this side doesn't lock in at all, but you'll see that there is a cutout where the screws and the wire go through. And then I'm going to do the same procedure, and I'm going to feed them through the hole here, these wires through the hole. So you have to do one at a time for the video and then the power wire, but they will slide up through. And then the orange piece, you have to make sure it's oriented a certain way. Sometimes it'll get jammed, but should go through without issue. And then you want to line that gasket up again, okay? Just how we did before. And then the camera will push up against there. And then you'll notice there are 2 screw holes. It's kind of hard to see, but on the inside here, there's 2 screw holes. That is where we will actually put our tiny screws. I highly, highly recommend you use a screwdriver that is magnetic. It will make this a lot easier for you. And then you just want to, it's a little hard to see here, you just want to put that through and then line up the hole and then just tighten it. Make sure it's lined up with the camera there. And then you want to do the second one. Okay, and the wire sometimes gets in the way, but it's not a huge deal. You can kind of work around it. Getting the screws in really is the hardest part of all of this, and just making sure that everything is cleanly lined up. But then you want to spin that one in. Doesn't need to be super tight, honestly. Just tight enough to where the camera doesn't want to wiggle. So I'm going to tighten this side just a little bit more. Again, not too tight. You don't want to strip the screws or go too deep in the camera. And that is, you see it's on there, it's not spinning, it's mounted with those 2 screws. And you can see now our gasket is working. You can see there, like, it should compress a little. That is totally normal. It should pull the camera in, and that's what creates that watertight seal in there, preventing water from seeping into the cabin. So now that you've got this assembled, we can go ahead and install it on the vehicle. I also want to give a little tip. So sometimes during shipping, this clip right here could possibly become compressed. So this is a snap clip. It's meant to kind of spring back out. But if it, for some reason, like if you're pushing it up in there and this clip is not locking it into the trunk, maybe it's, you know, pushed in a little bit too much, you can go ahead, grab it with 2 fingers like this and just kind of stretch it out a little bit, just gently, just enough to kind of pull it back out. And, you know, you're not gonna, well, if you really force on it, yes, you could break it. But if you just try to spread that out just a little bit, you could even probably take a screwdriver and just kind of twist it in there, just enough to let it spring back out. Again, shouldn't be an issue, but in case during shipping, if that happens and it's not locking into place, then you should be able to do that and it should clip in.